Currently, China's main strategic nuclear submarine should be the 094 type nuclear submarine, but many people believe that China is developing 096 type strategic nuclear submarine. If 096 really exists, according to Reason, it should be regarded as China's grand finale of the weapons. Then this nuclear submarine in the world belong to what level? In fact, not to mention the 096 nuclear submarine, on the 094 type strategic nuclear submarine, the world belongs to the first level, because the world only 5 countries have their own strategic nuclear submarines, which means that as long as you have a strategic nuclear submarine in service, you in this regard has reached the world's top 5 level. Of course, in comparison, China's 094 nuclear submarine performance does belong to the 5 strategic nuclear submarines in the bottom level. In the current strategic nuclear submarines, the United States is the undisputed first, followed by Russia, then France Triumph class. Fourth is China's 094 strategic nuclear submarines, and finally the British Avant-Garde class strategic nuclear submarines. The UK's Avant-Garde class is still relying on technology sharing with the US to come out, and without the technology sharing between the UK and the US, the overall level of the Avant-Garde class would be even worse. China's Type 094 nuclear submarine, no matter whether it is quiet ability or volume or space utilization, compared to the United States, Russia and France, the 3 strategic nuclear submarines, are much worse. In volume, the United States Ohio-class nuclear submarine full load displacement of 18,700 tons, 12.8 meters in diameter. Russia's God of the North Wind strategic nuclear submarine full load displacement of 24,000 tons, 13.5 meters in diameter. France Triumph class full load displacement of 14,000 tons, 12.5 meters in diameter. Relatively speaking, China's Type 094 nuclear submarine full load displacement of 12,000 tons, 12.5 meters in diameter. It can be seen that the volume alone, China's 094 nuclear submarine has been smaller than the United States, Russia and France nuclear submarines. In the quiet ability, China's first generation of strategic nuclear submarines, 091 type, was once jokingly called underwater tractor. The Americans once ridiculed the 091 type nuclear submarine. Noise can be heard in Hawaii. 094 type nuclear submarines is China's second generation of strategic nuclear submarines, although in terms of quietness, the 094 type nuclear submarine, the 094 type nuclear submarine, as the second generation of China's strategic nuclear submarines, as China's second generation strategic nuclear submarine, the Type 094 nuclear submarine. Although there has been a great improvement in the quiet ability, but its quiet ability cannot be compared with the nuclear submarines of the United States, Russia and France. Not to mention, the huge turtle back on the back of the 094 alone determines that the 094 type nuclear submarine's quiet ability is relatively poor. As for space utilization, and the structure of the 094 nuclear submarine related, the structure of the submarine is divided into double hull structure and single hull structure. To make the submarine in the case of not changing the volume to obtain more internal space, it is necessary to use a single hull structure. However, the submarine with single hull structure, the submarine's outer wall pressure resistance will be significantly weakened. So in order to use a single hull submarine, the country needs to have a very high attainment in material science technology, but also to solve the process of built and ring-shaped pressure-resistant ribs, as well as processing the shell into a complex curvature of the linear and other technologies. So it can be seen, because the current Chinese strategic nuclear submarines, in front of the existence of some barriers, so the 094 type nuclear submarines, in the technology behind the United States, Russia and France, these countries of the strategic nuclear submarines. But these problems to 096 type strategic nuclear submarine service may be greatly improved. In the case of a nuclear submarine's bulk, for a submarine to be big, it needs a plate press that can roll large enough steel. Coincidentally, in the current field of plate presses, China is literally number 1 in the world. For example, in August 2024, China rolled out a 5,600 mm wide plate roughing mill, which is currently the world's largest wide plate mill. The reason why the Type 094 nuclear submarine is smaller in tonnage is largely due to the fact that it was commissioned earlier. The first ship of the type of nuclear submarine was launched in 2004, which means that, When China designed the 094, with the industrial system base, or the base of the last century, China's industrial capacity in the last century, and now compared to the natural incomparable. But now the 096 strategic nuclear submarine can eat the dividends of China's industrial development, which means that the 096 can be built bigger. At the same time, because of the development of China's industrial capacity, China's nuclear submarine production process will be greatly improved. Then when building the 096 nuclear submarine, China will be able to make a more pressure-resistant hull, and will be able to use a single-hull submarine. The larger submarine and single-hull structure means that the turtle back of the 096 nuclear submarine is gone, and the quiet ability can be greatly improved. So the 096 type nuclear submarine in service, its technical level should be able to reach and the United States and Russia's current strategic nuclear submarine similar, or even part of the performance indicators over the level of its